Edward Dmytryk. We discussed one of his films early on FOTD, 1945's Cornered, and now let's finally look into his work a little more for 1952's The Sniper. The Sniper was Dmytryk's second film back, this same year's Mutiny precedes it, after he had spent time in prison and then testified before HUAC. Dmytryk's reputation now, like Elia Kazan's, is inextricably tied to him having named names. Perhaps under fierce duress, confusion, pressure, and subjugation, these people testified, scared for their own skin, or maybe having second thoughts about any socialist sympathies they had felt in the past, adopting a fervent hatred of perceived communist ideology, which became considered, maybe to this day, one of the most patriotic things any American could do. The Sniper is seemingly unique in that it is a film from 1952 which follows the murderer as they struggle with the destructive disorder which drives them to commit homicides. It is blunt in that it focuses on a killer in particular who has a pathological hatred of women, a lethal misogyny which inspires the police to refer to him, and so does an opening blurb of text which I presented at the beginning with my screen caps, as a sex criminal. I'm not sure if this is still the terminology employed. I would assume now that a sexual crime is associated with sexual assault rather than a strict murder. The homicidal protagonist Eddie Miller, portrayed by Arthur Franz, does not sexually assault any of his victims on screen, and is not mentioned, to my memory at least. He does attempt to intimidate one or two, and certainly attempts to traumatize one by violently throwing baseballs at them as they sit behind a cage. In any case, the police department's attempt to compose a psychological profile of the killer seems to be rather ahead of its time, an early precedent for narrative films to begin seriously examining the process which detectives use in order to investigate and track down a serial killer. A very well shot and directed film, generally known for its visual superlative demonstration of San Francisco, credit must be given to the good cinematographer Burnett Guffey. It is hardly one of the absolute great films of all time, yet The Sniper is really quite impressive for what it is. Dmytryk seemed to specialize in these slick, no-nonsense, efficiently visual genre films, and I'd suggest that 1952's The Sniper is a rather fine example of this. Worth noting is how it attempts to frame its protagonist against his environment, his pale, sweaty face, confused eyes, mouth mildly ajar, visually contrasted against the perspective of some larger building. It reveals him as an insecure outsider to the proto-cyborg collective conscious of a metropolitan machine. Perhaps predecessor to Michael Powell's audacious curiosity in 1960's Peeping Tom, 1952's The Sniper from Dmytryk I consider to be a fairly worthwhile picture, wholly recommended to anyone so